Hell, he probably killed your great-granddad.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Cloud.
And this is We Watch Spookies.
Today's movie is Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow is a 1999 gothic supernatural mystery fantasy horror film directed by Tim Burton. Starring Johnny Depp, Christina Ricci, Miranda Richardson, Michael Gambon, Casper Van Dien, Jeffrey Jones, and Christopher Walken. Have a plot synopsis.
The constable, Ichabod, wants to use logic and reasoning in his police work.
And
Science! And the lawyer in New York's like, yeah, brah, now we good. And sends him's like, all right. If you want to do that, go do it at Sleepy Hollow. And so he does. And then you have all these people being murdered. And they're like, oh yeah, it's the Headless Horseman. And here's his origins. It was Christopher Walken. And he was tired of wearing that watch up his ass. So he started going around cutting people's heads off. And so they got him and they cut his head off. And they put him in a grave. And then he discovers that it's like a land control plot, and there's people who are involved, but then it turns out they're not involved, and it's the stepmom. And then she goes to hell, and everything turns out okay.
If the watch was the reason, it would have to be a pocket watch. Because
Yeah, it
the
makes it even
wristwatch
larger.
wasn't invented until 1868. Some 69 years hints from this movie. So
Like sticks a finger up there just to try to like wind it back up. So
I
it
mean,
stays
people did
working.
adapt pocket watches to fit onto their wrists for some earlier period of time, but
More Johnny. Let me not mess this. More Johnny Depp. Johnny of the Deep.
more Johnny Depp,
And more, is it
more Christina Ricci.
Christina?
Yes,
Christina Ricci. Okay.
Ricci.
Ricci. Got a Ricci over here.
Yeah.
Make sure I got that name right.
Yeah. As well as both Dumbledore 2 and Uncle Vernon.
Yes. It's got like all these people we know.
And
Pre-Lord Dooku.
yeah,
Count Dooku.
Pre-Count Dooku, and a Casper, but not that Casper, a real life Casper,
Yes.
because
Like they just don't name kids Casper nowadays.
no, well,
No.
I'm not sure how much they ever did, because the Casper Van Dien is like the only famous real life Casper. I'm pretty sure. I can't think of another one offhand. So, I mean, there's Casper the Friendly Ghost, and there's Casper Van Dien. One of them has more chin than the other one. Although not that much, because like real life Ghost Casper, he's got plenty of jaw.
All right. So,
Hang on, check this out. In Casper Meets Wendy, Casper Van Dien plays a guy who is not important enough to the story enough to get any more name as a character than Crew Cut Hunk. So double Casper.
oh Lord. All right. So I know Ichabod is supposed to be like, would the proper term be queasy? Like he's kind of queasy. Like he sees something, it's like, blood.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm
Because
not
like,
sure if that's exactly the right word, but
yeah, like if
which
you,
is odd considering his job.
yeah. Well, I wonder. It's
But-
like because we see his childhood trauma
yeah,
somehow leave these weird scars on his hands
which never healed.
that never really healed. Did they just
I
randomly
mean, they don't bleed anymore, but there's-
They did. They started bleeding once.
yeah, but
Just once, which was weird. And then it's like, one, why did his dad marry his mom to have a kid and let this go on for that long? Because she's like, she's a child of nature, and he it's not like this is new. Like
No.
the dude would have had to have known this for a while, and then he's just like, okay, I'll just totally murder my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say it goes past the torture when she's dead.
Yeah. Well, I think he's justified because she's a witch and he's Christian or whatever. Because we're told at least that the dad was in a roundabout way, and that Ichabod was, because he mentions having lost his faith at a certain point. So we know that he had it at some point. He didn't get it from nowhere, and he didn't get it from his mom, so it must have been dad. So, killing a witch isn't murder. So it's all right. I'm not sure about the Iron Maiden part. That seems
a bit like,
I'm not sure if
modified Iron Maiden, not the band.
Iron Maiden
Kills witches.
See,
dead.
the thing about the Iron Maiden, though, as a torture device is that it was never really used that much because it didn't really work.
Yeah.
So it's more of this like mythical idea of a torture device than something that was commonly practiced. But Dad's got an Iron Maiden in, I don't think it's the basement.
No.
I'm not really sure
There's
where.
no steps to it. It's just like, here's the area that looks like a church, and then if you just go through the door, there's the torture devices. And don't you need a permit for that?
I'm pretty sure that Iron Maiden of either the literal kind or the band kind in church is not okay with anyone.
No.
Permit or not. So he does seem to be annoying to the other people because they're perfectly all right. Because, like, Dad has an Iron Maiden in the whatever room that is. They also have various devices of torture in the courtroom. So...
Well, I also think it's kind of funny because he's got a lot of really cool, interesting, mechanical-looking tools.
Yeah, he has devices.
And, like, they all look like they would be used for torture.
Kind of, yeah.
Like that little blade that goes back and forth. Because it had, like, the two strings on it. One on the top. Like, really? You could just use a scalpel. Come on, man.
You could.
Or a pair of scissors. And just like, no, this is supposed to be scary and torture. Nope, cutting open a dead body.
Yeah, well, that's why they're not devices of torture, because he only uses them on people who are already dead. And they can't feel it.
They're dead.
Yeah, they are. A lot of heads get cut off.
Yeah, which it's a perfect time to mention, I suppose. The tagline on the poster for this is, heads will roll.
Ah, damn it, I knew that's what it was going to say.
Is still not approved because it's lazy and not creative at all.
And if literal heads roll in the movie, then yes, it is incredibly lazy.
Well,
and dumb.
They do.
Yes.
Heads do roll.
Down a hill.
They do.
At least once.
I feel like more than once. I seem to remember at least twice. I mean, all of them kind of roll like a time or two before they stop because he tends to cut them off while action is happening.
Yeah.
So they're in motion. They have momentum, and so
heads in motion.
They're heads in motion, which sounds like an 80s band. I don't think that it was, but it sounds like one. For some reason, Francis Ford Coppola is an executive producer on this. I do not know why.
Because Tim Burton was very convincing.
I mean, I guess.
Or scary. One or the other.
See, the thing about Tim Burton is that he makes frightening and like weird oddball movies, but as a person, he's kind of like Ichabod. Like he has kind of weird ideas, but he's also sort of timid and has difficulty being assertive to people. And so he's not actually that, like, he has kind of like scary hair in sometimes. Like it's kind of like,
it's not scary.
If you took like if you took Egon's hair and then went boom, like that's what his hair is. And which is a little bit like the Sweeney Todd hair, just not quite as long. And not with the weird like white streaks of evil.
Okay, so he always has his wife in the movie. I didn't notice her. And it kind of made me think, did she play the witch in the cave that the sister killed? Because that's like a thing.
Let me see here. If I can get off the Casper Van Dien page. It's not. She does not seem to be in it.
Well, I guess there's a first for everything.
I guess so.
Let me pull my notes back up. Okay, so how do we feel about Christopher Walken playing the Headless Horseman and having no dialogue?
Well, I mean, he gets to like
That's not dialogue.
Yell a little bit. But the thing, even though he doesn't speak, that is the most Christopher Walken thing that he does is when he comes upon the children when he's running away from the guys trying to kill him. No, not that. It's before that. Like he runs over the hill. There's the children, and like the shots behind him. We see the children, and then it turns around to him, and he does this like head tilt thing that is like he does in everything that he's in. Like it's at least as Christopher Walken as his like rhythm of speaking. Like he does it all the time, and it's one of his like signature things and he just does it even when he doesn't speak, and he gets to do that. So it's almost as good as him speaking.
No, right? Because whenever they're telling us the little background story, and it's like, okay, well, it's actually this guy, and he's the Headless Horseman, and here's his story. He was a German enforcer for the British Imperial blah blah blah, and he filed his teeth down. What?
Which seems like would hurt.
It does.
I don't think you can just do that.
A lot? Because it's not like you have like a tiny little bit of nerve on the inside and then it's just all of this casing.
No,
it doesn't
pretty
take
thin before it gets to the sensitive bits.
Yeah, it's like you file it down a little bit and it starts hurting. Like I know there are like tribes that were in South America that do it, but like really, it is not comfortable.
No.
And it's not good for your teeth.
No.
Plus, I thought people's teeth back then kind of rotted out of their face quickly because like no one really brushed their teeth at that point. Like it wasn't a oral hygiene is in maximum demand kind of thing.
Yeah, you think of like George Washington and his wooden teeth kind of.
Yeah, like that kind of persona, if you will. It's like I could understand if it's like he pulled his teeth out and replaced them with like piranha teeth dentures or something. Like he really
with his actual teeth.
Yeah, like I'd be like okay with that. You know, because your teeth are gonna rot out and you got to get them pulled anyway. So it's their replacements, not him filing them down. Jesus, that would so painful.
Hang on, I was wrong. She does play his mom.
Ah.
So it was what you thought.
No, that's a different character. I figured she'd be in it. I thought she was the witch sister.
Oh, the sister. No,
yeah,
she's
they got
like
possessed.
She's the witch mother.
Yeah, because she's like her face was like always covered until the end when she kind of comes out and the sister decapitates her.
Oh.
Yeah, like I thought she was that witch.
No,
not
she's
not Ichabod's mom.
Yeah. Ichabod's mom kind of sounds like a bad name too.
Well, we have Wolf Mother, so we're not far off.
So this was not originally meant to be a Tim Burton movie.
Really?
It started out just as a script and was going to be almost like it was going to be like a low budget slasher kind of movie. And it was going to be directed by Kevin Yager, and who was like the special effects guy who made the Freddy Krueger makeup.
Okay.
But then they disagreed, like him and the studio disagreed, and he did not direct it. And actually, he did still end up doing the makeup, but then Tim Burton directed it.
Nothing wrong with that.
So that we almost had like a Pumpkinhead kind of case, where it's directed by the guy that does the stuff that makes the stuff actually the stuff, but is not the guy that directs the stuff usually. So
the stuff. Well, we do get a Pumpkinhead.
Well, we do, yes,
and we get we get one, which I do like. Because I always enjoyed the old animation for Ichabod and Mr. Toad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like there really was the Headless Horseman who threw the flaming like jack-o'-lantern.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and I like that they incorporated that, but
Yeah, they do that, and it's weird. It's almost like this was supposed to be 3D or something.
Yeah.
There's a couple of moments like that where things come directly at the camera in weird, like, CG kind of fashion, and it looks totally different from anything else in the rest of the movie. It's like, was it supposed to be 3D? It can't be. It's 99. They weren't making 3D then.
Yeah, but I like how or why they did it, and they used it as like, oh, it's not actually the Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
It's just some dudes pulling a prank on the on Ichabod. So I think that works for me.
Yeah, they're really bad at pranking too, because then
They're not even done, and they're just like
they're
laughing.
not done, and they're still well close enough to hear.
Yeah.
they're just laughing with each other, and he can hear them. So
Get pranked, bro.
which maybe
He's on fire.
I don't know if that's what they want. Maybe where they don't want him to continue going about thinking that this is real. Maybe so it's like, hey, we're gonna like scare you, and that's gonna be fun for us. But then we're also gonna kind of let you know that it wasn't real after. So then you'll think that you're being put upon by the whole townsfolk.
Yeah.
Because they all either they believe it or they're pretending to believe it to mess with you. They're so calm though, like in the room when he's like, "Oh, we have to investigate," and they're like, "We know who it is.
Yeah.
It's the Headless Horseman. Here's the whole story.
like, we already know. Like,
We
that's
already
like-
know. Why are you here?"
It's about stopping him. Like that's the only problem. Okay, so from a story perspective, the stepmom has the skull and is controlling the Headless Horseman.
Yes.
All right. So I can understand there's a generalized fear by being killed by the Headless Horseman. Like nobody wants to die. Okay. And at the start of the movie, the people whom become suspects have no real fear of repercussions of their actions or anything like that. It's just like, hey, we know it's the Headless Horseman. This isn't good. And then move on. And then he starts doing some digging around, and it's like, oh, well, there's this family, and there's this family, and we got land ownership and all this other kind of business. And I think some of this kind of gets muddied up because the guy that is killed, who had the last will and testament,
Mm-hmm.
that was
Dumbledore.
supposed to go to the wife and the unborn kid, and they were all dead, so that meant that the husband was the one that had it left, or had all of it. So it was him, him, the wife, and the child, the Christina Ricci.
Mm-hmm.
Why does anyone else give a shit? Are they all like? Are all the other people trying to hide it from him? Because you have the magister, you have like the doctor, you have the lawyer, you have the priest. Like it's like everybody knew that the woman had the dude who was killed in the beginning in the stagecoach, right
Yeah.
underneath the scarecrow. Like,
Yeah.
because that was the thing. It's like the guy who owns it now. How does he own it now?
The land?
Yeah, because it all belonged to the dude that was just killed, and that was like
Well,
a
I think
week or
he
two
would
ago.
have owned it had there not been the other will, because there was something in the original will that left it to him, or he gets it because he's I don't know.
Well, no, that was the thing. Is like he was supposed to receive it once the old man dies because there was no family left.
Yeah.
So why kill everybody else? All she had to do was kill her husband and then kill the daughter, and then she'd have it, and it wouldn't matter. But they all act like he's the one that's killing people, and they know he's the one killing people, but he's not. He's just a dude panicking with everybody else because he doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
And so it's like they really do try to put like a pin on him, but none of the events in the movie really add up to it being him. Because, you know, whenever Ichabod's like, oh, it's him, like, I don't really know. Like, a lot of the stuff that's going on, it almost kind of made me feel like the daughter was the one doing this.
Yeah, well, they lead us that way a little
Yeah.
bit, because she's the one that knew that the files were in the drawer, and then she's the one that burns the files. Even though, like, he saw her see the files.
Yeah. And then he didn't.
He left them in the drawer.
Why you gotta be stupid?
You saw her see them! You know she's suspicious! Don't leave them there!
Yeah.
Keep them with you. They're important.
And so it's like, okay, they're not really evidence, but it's a good way to show that he is the most likely candidate for everybody being killed off. But at this point, he's already dug into the grave and he knows the skull's missing. So it's like, okay, we understand that the Headless Horseman does exist. He gets summoned from the Tree of Death or whatever. We need to find the skull. But then they don't even make any attempt to find the skull.
I mean, they don't really know how, I guess.
You dig around. Be secretive. Be quiet. You know, you got to improve them detective stealth skills.
I mean, I do like the detective elements of this. I like the going about solving the mystery.
Yeah.
It's more detective than we've ever seen in a Batman movie.
That is true. That is true.
And it is
well, they build him up as a character that's supposed to use logic and reasoning, and that's what we receive in the movie.
Yeah.
So, yes, he, other than being squeamish and fainting at everything, I would say he's a relatively good character.
Yeah, he is. There is a moment where when after he knows that the Horseman is real and he wakes up in bed and he's telling all of them like it's real, and he's like hiding under the sheets and leaning into the corner, and they're telling him to calm down.
Like, yeah, we know it's real. We told you it was real.
When he's in whoa, this is heavy kind of mode, like you can hear Jack Sparrow, like in his mannerisms and in like his like the tone and the rhythm and this and not just here, you can see it too. Mm-hmm. Like there are elements of it that
the way he moves his fingers,
the way he moves his fingers,
yeah,
the way he moves his face, the way he speaks, and this is well before a few years. Actually, it's not that much before. What the first Pirates movie is early 2000s, right? Is it like 2002 or 3 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's actually not that much before. He otherwise looks so different though, because it's just Johnny Depp's face, which we don't see that much anymore, because he's buried under so much stuff for Jack Sparrow, and he's played extreme character, you know, like I just said it earlier. What's the Sweeney Todd?
Yeah, Sweeney
like
Todd.
There's makeup and weird hair and stuff that he doesn't have in this. But
what was the one where he plays the really screwy guy and it deals with like art theft or whatever? Where he's he's like dumb. Like even that, like the makeup they put on him, then like it still sounds like him, but they really do kind of like screw with his face.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't know who Johnny Depp was, it's like, who's this guy? Oh no, it's Johnny of the Deep.
I mean, and it's 2003 is the first Pirates movie.
Yeah.
So it's
I was
years,
only
4 years later.
Off.
So it's a very different Johnny Depp than we had in what year was it? 86 maybe? It was like the immediate previous movie, and I already can't remember.
Lord.
It was like 3 days ago we recorded it. Hang on. Elm Street 84. So, I mean, it's a long time.
Yeah,
it's a long time since, but it's very different. I mean, you almost can't recognize him as Johnny Depp in Elm Street. Like, you kind of have to know that it's him. Somebody else that we also didn't mention that's in this is the notary guy is Michael Goth, who is Alfred in the Batman movies. So we also have Alfred.
Everybody's getting a job.
Everybody's getting a job. I mean,
well, everybody who knows. Damn it! Like it's like you can't say one name without like all these other names being connected to him as well.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so you get Tim Burton, and then you have all these people who are associated with Tim Burton, and they're like in every Tim Burton movie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think of like Casper Van Dien as a Tim Burton guy or Walken, but and even though he's barely in the movie, we at least in a roundabout way have Christopher Lee.
Oh yes.
Because he's of course very important to horror films of mostly an earlier time, and we didn't do that many of ones that are that early, so we haven't met him in one of those parts, but we still managed to get him in before this thing was over. We will have to do it if we do this next year. We'll have to have like an actual like old Christopher Lee horror movie where he's a vampire or something.
Yeah, Christopher Lee, the only person in this movie who is actually scary.
Well,
Because he knows how to kill you. Hell,
Um,
he probably killed your great granddad. World War II spy shit.
yeah.
Okay, the fat guy, the magistrate.
Yeah, Uncle Vernon.
How hard was it him just to say a name?
Well, they're keeping secrets. You know, it's a small town. They keep
I'm
the
saying,
secrets. It's like Storm of the Century.
He's already out there. It's not like anyone else is around. He could have just said it. They spend like 3 minutes just staring into the woods, listening to some footsteps and looking at some fog, and he just takes 2 seconds to say a name.
But if Ichabod knows, he's going to mention it to the other people because now he has clues in his investigating, and they're going to know he got it from someone.
Yeah.
And then he's afraid of getting blamed or maybe killed by the horsemen or something, which he gets killed by the horsemen anyway. But
Well, see, I kind of feel like it would have been okay because I would think the magistrate would give what's his face, the landowner, like it's like, oh, it's him, he's the one doing it.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, because that's the conclusion we led to anyways. And that's what gave us the twist where it's like, nope, it's actually the stepmom because the landowner dude is dead.
Yeah.
And I like how they show it's the stepmom because you see her getting screwed and then she cuts her hand. And it's like, why did you make it so obvious that you cut your hand? And then you don't even mimic the actual cut. You just like cut the lady's hand. It's like, oh, there you go, done. Like it's like there was only half thought through.
Yeah.
And you know Ichabod's there, and you know that he saw you do this, and he's paying attention to all these kind of details.
She does know.
Yeah, she does know.
She knows because they talk about it earlier.
You know, she brings it's like you're trying not to look at the cut on my hand. Like, I've seen it.
Uh-huh.
I've seen it.
Which I don't know what the geography of the spot where they're doing it is, but it seems like he's like Ichabod is visible where he's standing.
Yeah.
But it seems as if he's not somehow.
It's like there's plenty of light. Like
he's Jason's mom suddenly.
Yeah. Just invisible.
He's just full open, but no one notices.
No, wrong movie. Get out of here.
Yeah. It's piano.
Yeah, you listen here now. We're doing this Sleepy Hollow business. You get your slasher films out of this shit. No, but like I'm okay with it. I'm okay with him being there and being visible because, like I said, like she knew he was there. So,
well, but she doesn't say she saw him. She acts as if it's because she's noticed that he's the only one that hasn't asked what happened.
Yeah,
when he is otherwise curious about things. And so it seems as if he must have seen because he already knows, and it's uncomfortable for him to bring it up because he saw them doing it.
And who was the dude she was screwing?
I'm not sure.
Because it wasn't the notary. Like in the movie,
no, he is
way too skinny. Well, he's too skinny.
He's too skinny.
Like
yeah.
the dude was a thick boy. I'm telling you right now, like that dude was thick. And the only other guy that was in the group of people who was that thick
was Uncle Vernon. And
was
he's
Uncle
dead
Vernon
already,
and he's dead. So it almost kind of makes me feel like maybe they the tiny little bit of continuity that was messed up. I don't know.
I mean, there aren't that many people in town.
Yeah.
So
and like it's the like her explanation. It's like I was able to do all this by like finding out people were screwing other people. Like was the like the doctor, was he even hitched with anybody? So like why would it matter that he's like banging the maid? Because we never see him with anybody. Like the only wife that we see is the midwife, and then
knock before entering.
Yeah, knock before entering. The midwife and the stepmom. Like those are the only like wives that we see in this movie. Like everybody else is just like, yeah, there seems to be like a woman, and then there's the maid, and then just tons of single men.
Yeah.
It's like what is this? Like there's kids here. Who are these kids? Who do these kids belong to? We have a midwife for a reason. We see one pregnant woman.
Yeah,
we see one pregnant woman.
But it's not a kid yet, so.
Yeah.
And we don't.
And then
know
there's
who-
a
we
woman
don't
with
know
no
who the
head
hu-
who
we-
had. Who
we
was
don't know who
having
the
a kid.
husband is. Yeah, the widow
Yeah.
Winship. Because apparently widowhood is your entire defining characteristic once it happens to you. Because no one ever calls her by just her name. I do like the sort of old-timey way that the widow Winship sounds whenever anybody
Yes.
says it. And this whole period of time, this like early US history period where everybody is like they're kind of losing their English accents because it's been long enough, but they still have elements of it and they haven't lost all of it yet. So this like weird like America full of almost English people kind of time is an interesting time that there aren't that many movies set in.
There was a family. They were Dutch. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't see them, do we?
And now I think that the family that was supposed to because they were saying there was a family that used to live up there.
Oh yeah.
I
they
think
don't
that
live
was the
there
ones
now.
that's like the dad died, the mom and two girls got kicked out. The mom died because she was sick, and then it was the two girls by themselves.
Oh yeah.
I want to know how they did survive living out in the woods. I guess maybe in the cave, and their dresses are still clean.
I do.
What?
I like the just defiantness of the one little girl because Christopher Walken is like shh, and she just like looks him dead in the face and just lifts
Breaks
up the
it.
stick and just cracks it so that the people know something's happening.
Get wrecked.
And it's so deliberate. It's just like you're shh, don't shush me.
You listen here,
I'll break this stick.
you nasty looking, like comb your hair.
Yeah.
Comb your hair.
Well, he's riding a horse all the time. It blows around.
Oh, and the faces he makes. Oh my god, it's so silly.
Yeah, it is kind of distracting when he first enters the movie because it's like they're telling the story and they're like, there was this guy and he was killing people and he chopped off heads from his horse and then there's like a battle going on and we push in further and further and then finally we can see him and it's just Christopher Walken with pointy teeth and wild hair.
Like,
And
what is
it's like,
this?
wait,
What?
oh, so the headless horseman's head is Christopher Walken's head.
Oh boy.
Because we've seen the horseman already.
Yeah.
Without his head. It's like, oh, is that the head? Oh, I didn't know that was the head we were looking for.
Now, with all the jokes that we make about Christopher Walken, like the cowbell one wasn't even.
I never make
like,
that joke.
It wasn't even a thought for this one because it's like since he's supposed to be like angry and mean and he's killing people, like all I could think of was like disgruntled vet being getting tired of the watch, and he's just
Well,
like,
I mean, he is in a way a disgruntled vet because they say that he's a Hessian, which is a Hessian mercenary who were Germans who fought with the British in the Revolutionary War against America. So he was now there was no Revolutionary War anymore, and he didn't have anything to do. So I guess he was angry.
he's not angry because of that. He's angry because of the pain from filing the teeth down.
Well, maybe, yeah.
It's a terrible idea. Okay, so the witch lady. Now, the witch lady that I'm talking about is going to be the witch lady in the cave.
With the veil and the
Yeah, and the dead bat that she just cuts the head. Or
which that to me was the most violently graphic thing in the movie. Like
Yeah.
the head slopping off wasn't any
it's
big
so
thing.
clean.
It's clean, yeah. And then she just like the head off of the bat, and I was like, oh, whoa,
What is this?
that was. I kind of want to look away now, except it's already over. So
It's like, wait a
yeah.
minute. Is
I'd-
Ozzy around here somewhere? Did you steal his dinner?
I mean, I was already in kind of a state to be uncomfortable because she pulls out this like bucket with a cage top on it and she's going to dump something out of it and the cage part on the top looks like a spider web. And I thought, oh, she's going to have like a tarantula or something in there.
Big
and
spider.
then it's a bat. And so like bats are like, I'm not especially frightened of bats.
No.
So
I actually like
but then she
bats.
just the head off and it's like, oh, well, okay. Thought things were okay when it wasn't a spider. They weren't okay.
No. Like the dead cardinal.
She just goes to squeeze it on the dead cardinal too.
It's like, bad omen. Bad Omen. It's like we spent a lot of this movie with like, oh, there's the cardinal, and then there's like the toy with the cardinal, and then like the cage, and you spin it, and then he has one, and then he lets it go, and he leaves, and then it's dead. Like, this looks like foreshadowing. It's not.
No,
but it does help set
it doesn't
a mood.
really. It doesn't matter at all.
I'm not here to tell you your occupation, which doesn't bother me. I do like that dialogue, just him stumbling over his feet, and like, oh Jesus, man.
Which that's the other time when a little bit of Jack Sparrow bleeds in.
Yeah, it's
whenever he's like flustered and stumbling, and he, you can see the elements of it that were going to be there, which. You know,
there was way more in this bottle than I thought there was. Oh yeah, no bats were harmed in the making of this movie.
Yeah, I suppose not.
I mean, you're not going to be chopping heads off real quick.
I mean, I was really kind of concerned about the way he just grabs his cardinal.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I guess you have to grab it somehow, but it seemed like, I mean, anytime you have to touch a bird, like it seems like the bird's not happy about it and is not going to have a good time. I mean, you have to kind of like get a grip on it so that it doesn't try to spread its wings and hurt itself or something.
Yeah.
But it just looks like you're just going, just squeezing a bird and
smash the bird in your fingers.
Smash the bird.
I will name it George, and I will hug it, and I will love it, and put the bird down.
But what I mean was, like, I know we're talking about it a lot, and he is very good and effective in this, but in the same way that
Matt Damon is Jason Bourne.
Like, I really feel like Jack Sparrow is like Johnny Depp's ultimate character. Like, and because you can see bits of it here and there in other things that he's in, like that was the part that is the most perfect for him, that he was able to do the most in and totally like create a thing that you couldn't, like, you can never recast Jack Sparrow. Like, they can, if they make more Pirates movies without Johnny Depp in them, they have to have another character.
Yeah.
Because I think it's even more than like, I won't like it whenever they eventually have somebody new play Tony Stark, but they could, I think. Like, it'll take a while to get used to. They'll have to do it a very different way, but I think it's possible. I don't think you can have anyone else do Captain Jack Sparrow but Johnny Depp, because it's such a him creation. There's just nothing. I can't think of anybody else that would have done it that way. I mean, Jason Alexander talks about how if like Wayne Knight, who plays Newman in Seinfeld, had played George instead of him, that you'd probably would have had roughly the same thing. I think he's underselling himself a little, but he says you could not have had anyone but Michael Richards play Kramer, because it would not have been Kramer. It would have been something totally different. Like that version of a person, that character comes so much from Michael Richards that you could not have anyone else have done it and had anything remotely the same. And I think that that's similar with Johnny Depp. Now, we still haven't seen the most recent Pirates of the Caribbean movie. We should see it because we've seen the others.
I want to see the zombie sharks.
But so they're still trying, but I don't know if we'll get another one, because that one didn't make very much money, and it played for a long time though, kind of. Anyway, surprisingly, they really tried to squeeze all the money out of it that they could.
There's nothing this weekend. Please see our movie. I want to know how the kid knows like what the evil eye is, because in the end it's like,
She's got the book.
Well, the thing is the book that she gives Ichabod is supposed to be like positive, here's good enchantments to protect you. Like, that's what it says. It says positive things on the cover, not witches, spells and incantations to destroy enemies and bewitch foes. Like, nah, it's like, keep yourself safe, brah. There you go. Here's this book.
Keeping yourself safe kind of implies maybe doing
Striking
something to your
first.
foes. Yeah, so
a good offense is the best defense. America.
I do not approve this message. We
And-
watched movies just not approved this best.
And so it's like this kid's like, it's the evil eye. It's under the bed. And then he's like, he just goes with it. He's like, yeah, it looks like an eye. Looks like some witchcraft kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's probably evil. Give me a second. I need a faint. All right, I'm awake again. And then it's like, she got this purple chark. She's got this purple chalk on her hands. And then there's this big thing to keep the people safe. Other than her father, who was just like impaled, which was a really good scene. I like that.
Yeah.
It's clever because it shows that it's not mindless. Like it does think, it just has a goal because it's being controlled.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, how would this kid even know what the evil eye is? Like he's just jumping to conclusions. Like, calm down, kid. Calm down. Got to use logic and shit, right? You got to be learning from the best. That's why you're going to be a manservant for almost all of the rest of your childhood and young adulthood until I have no more money to pay you because I'm still only a constable. And we moved to New York. So I don't know if the lady is keeping the lands or what.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, you had a place to live. You could have still been living there. Come on now.
Well, there's no detecting to do in Sleepy Hollow now.
Yeah, but you
though.
can still be the constable. It's like...
Yeah, but he likes to solve the mystery and investigate and do science and stuff. So there's not enough people in Sleepy Hollow to have very much crime before you just run out of people and you don't have a town anymore. So
just the crime just eliminates the people from existence.
yeah. Well, no, I mean, just like you put people in jail, eventually the town is in jail, or there just isn't any crime to solve. So
someone stole my sweet roll. 3 people just vanish.
yeah.
Oh, let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll. No, there was a murder, like right down the street. Jackass.
Yeah. Now this is over 100 years after the height of witch fearing.
Yeah.
So people aren't really that concerned with it, but it seems to be still going on. If we assume it was going on for real before, like some people are still practicing.
Well, I don't know. I don't know so much about like the use of witchcraft diminishing as much as it's just people not hunting witches.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be like the big things. Like, nope.
Well, we
just-
don't hunt communists anymore either, or see them in our soup. So
and they're still communists.
Yeah.
So it's like they're like, oh, we're hunting witches. Well, we're not hunting witches anymore, but they're less of a problem. They still exist, but they're less of a problem. So, you know, our landlord's daughter's a witch, but whatever. She
Yeah.
keeps it in the house.
people still
She's not sprinkling dust on pregnant women, so we're good.
witch hunt,
Yeah.
but it's almost never literally about witches. So
Actually, I think
It's a-
that'd be kind
it's
of
a
fun. Like,
metaphorical
we need to
witch
start
hunt.
like a new age witch hunt where we actually hunt real witches with Nerf guns, and then like you keep like a tally score, and like the first person to get like 100 points gets a free sub from Firehouse Subs or something.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, it'd be like a good fun community game.
Should we replace escape rooms with witch hunts?
Maybe.
I mean,
Why did the meal explode? I know it's on fire, and I could if it had collapsed, I would have been okay. But it outright
sure
just
why it exploded. I mean,
it just exploded. Like there's nothing in it for it to explode with. Like corn does not explode. It might pop, not the same thing.
well, silos can explode, but it's mostly like a heat pressure thing, and I think if it's on fire, that's after and secondary. I don't think like you set some corn on fire and boom goes the dynamite. So, but it explodes because it looks cool. That's why, I guess.
Like
Or
Michael Bay's nipples start getting hard. Like the
or
mill just exploded.
or it's the first oil well and no one knew. Because it's pumping something. Probably, maybe.
I know it's a mill.
Is it a mill?
It's a mill. That's why they had all the bags of grain in it.
There's like a thing that goes like down in the ground though.
Nah. It didn't look like there was like a pump attachment. Like because the thing is, like, you could see like all the gears and mechanisms like moving, and then there was that the round base at the bottom. And I'm like that's right. That's where you'd have your mill. Like you'd have your big your stone wheel, and they harvest wheat because we saw them have the wheat all bundled together, and then you just take it to the mill and turn it to flour.
Mm-hmm. The new Oster windmill with pump attachment.
Do 2 jobs in one.
Two jobs in one.
Installs it into an area with no wind. Order now in the next 30 minutes and you get free installation.
Take that alternative energy.
Wind power plus like corn power.
Corn power is real. You can make it into ethanol and burn that.
Where you could eat the corn. And it could power you.
I don't think you can eat the ethanol corn. I think it's like special corn. I think you could plant eaten corn on that land.
You could.
Instead of ethanol. How do we feel about stars?
4. It was almost 5. Almost 5. But Ichabod pisses me off. Like, stop feigning!
Oh,
Stop.
yeah, we didn't even talk about that. There's
Stop
so much
fainting.
Like, it's not just him. Every now and then someone else faints also. But he faints a lot.
And he faints at things that shouldn't even be fainted. And then it's like it's always at a time that it's unnecessary.
It's inconvenient
It's like-
also, usually.
It's like he was involved with the fight. The one dude who was macking on Ricci, and it's because he's got like the curved blades for the harvesting.
I do like Casper Van Dien fights the
Casper-
horseman with sickles.
Yeah, and so like and then Ichabod's there and he's helping out with like a sickle on a pole. It's not a scythe. It's not the right design.
It's almost though.
It's still the small curve. It's not
Yeah,
the
it's
wide
not the
curve.
big
It's not
curve,
the
yeah.
harvesting. The harvesting is. But he
Scythe
doesn't faint
4.5.
there. Like he's involved in the
He
combat.
is involved, yeah.
And
And
he's
he
just-
he walks over and is like, "Well, I guess I'll use this one and fight also."
And like he's like perfectly fine through all of this, and then it's just like I got hit with a pumpkin. Passes out.
Yeah.
Like not passes out when hit by pumpkin. Gets hit by pumpkin.
Yeah, he's
is
not
on ground.
knocked out by a pumpkin.
Yeah, and then it's like here's laughing, and then passes. Like get it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say like that's the annoyance of people passing out is what kept it from getting a 5. If it wasn't for that, it would be a 5.
That seems so like arbitrary.
I know, but it's like it makes me angry.
Well, that doesn't make me angry. But I still feel that I still feel that there's something about it that's keeping it back ever so slightly. And I don't know what it is. And I feel bad now because up until now I don't think we gave a 5 to anything. But then we did to Elm Street, and so now I'm like comparing things to like Elm Street got a 5. Is it fair that this doesn't?
I don't have that problem.
I know.
It's like it's like look at this. Quit doing that, lady. You don't even have a right to faint. Not even doing anything. I killed your father. Let me just faint.
Yeah, I mean there is some weirdness and some odd, unexplained things. I think that maybe and some awkwardness to certain elements.
Yeah.
That I think it's a collection of tiny things that are holding it back slightly, but none of which are
Why is your
large
hand
enough that
bleeding?
I can remember them to describe them. So I think I'll give it 4 also.
The spikes on that chair are not sharp enough to like make those pinpricks in your hand. Why they didn't heal? Why haven't they healed? Not like they were super bad.
Or magic or something.
Why are they torture magic?
I do like his sort of runner of he's like facing his like childhood fear that he blocked out at the same time as this present day fear.
Yeah.
And then they're sort of interrelated indirectly by both being witch kind of stuff.
Well, his abundant fear of things,
Yeah.
I let slide because
But not to the point of fainting.
and that's the thing. Like the fainting is like the obnoxious part of it. because like we get the moments of fear, and then that always seems to act as I don't want to call it a motivation, but it leads into something that does seem to have some positivity to it, like a progression, if you will. It's like I'm afraid of this. I'm gonna have a dream about it. It's gonna bother me, but I'm going to move past it. And it's because of these kind of interactions, I'm okay with him having this ridiculous moment where he's in the bed and he's just freaking out, man. Like, I saw it. Like, yes, you did. And then, like, the next time he sees it, he doesn't have the same reaction. Like, he's moved past it, which is good.
Yeah, because he comes down the stairs and he's like, I'm ready to continue investigating, because everybody's kind of surprised to see him out of bed.
And so, like, it's because of the way this story is using it, I don't have a problem with it. The hand thing, that like the scars on the hand, I think is still just kind of silly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm sticking with 4.
I like his I like the time cut that we get where he's about to operate and then we skip over the whole thing and he comes outside into the street and he's just covered in blood and the townsfolk are like, what happened in there? I like that.
She was with child.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, is he is discovering things he didn't know and reporting them to people who already know all these things, but they're just keeping secrets.
Yeah.
So he's not conveying new information to them. They just have to pretend like, that could be something in the case. I think, though, as much as he is afraid of things, that Alfred is at almost, if not as afraid, for at least that single scene.
Yeah,
when he's interrogating him about the will and stuff. He's really cowering.
He's inside the cabinet, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Well, he's inside the cabinet, and then once he's not inside the cabinet, then he's like moving from chair to stay farther away, and he's almost like in tears the whole time, and he's grasping at the back of the chair and looking away, and he's having a bad time.
This is my dad's satchel. No, it is your satchel.
Yeah. Oh, I like that a lot too.
Yeah.
Where he says the young well, what is his name? What's the family name? I can't remember.
Names.
Yeah.
You'll get to say them.
Well, when I can remember them or pronounce them, yeah.
I keep wanting to say like Vulderberg or whatever.
No, that's the others. Maspeth. So he comes up and he says, young Maspeth. And he says, only Maspeth. It's the only time of something like that happening that I can think of, because it's commonplace for someone to say, Mr. whatever their name is. And they say, no, don't call me that. Mr. That is my father. Mm-hmm. And so then we get the negation of that.
It's like, no, I am the Mr.
Like,
now.
Now I am Mr. Maspeth because the other one is dead. So I'm all that's left. I like that. What about scariness? Were we as frightened as Ichabod and Alfred?
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to judge it between a 4 and a 5. I think I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it with 5. Like, between the how the Headless Horseman is, like, it's really just a dude with no head, and it's like, okay, that's all right. This is a bit odd. He's dual wielding axes. All right. And then it's like, now I'm Christopher Walken with sharp teeth. It's a little unnerving, yeah. And then you get the tree, which is wicked sweet, and I would totally want that tree in my backyard because that's totally metal.
Well, there would be dead people in the backyard, though, because there's heads in it.
But I didn't kill those dead people.
No.
So,
well,
I don't have to worry about it.
Eddie Murphy didn't kill those dead people either, but they're still in the backyard.
Property value, historical value. Yeah. But yeah, like that, the tree, like thinking about it, like that tree is terrifying because it bleeds, but I like the tree at the same time. So I'll give it a 5 just for creative sake.
It's a nice alternate because they come up on it and he says it's the tree of death, or of the dead or something. And so it's this like contrast to the tree of life, which is a commonplace mythological thing.
Literally,
Uh-huh.
tree of the dead.
Tree of the
There's dead people that right there.
Dead, yeah. They're
Like that-
dead.
Like that lady's arm is sticking out.
Yeah. Well, and the horseman is dead.
Yeah.
There. So even before the heads were in there, it was still somebody who was dead. It was a real creepy tree before that, though. So kind of odd to go and like bury the evil dude
Right there by the
right
tree.
there by the creepy tree. It's like, why? It's like, well, no one wants to come see the creepy tree, so we won't have him stumbling over the bad guy's grave. Mistakes were made. I think for like some of the other stuff is kind of intense. Even the opening chase with the horseman and the with the carriage and everything,
Yeah.
like it works pretty well.
The scarecrows.
The scarecrows, yeah.
Like, I don't know why you'd want to have like a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin head on a scarecrow because it's just gonna rot. But they looked really tight.
Yeah. And then the combination punch of is there a spider in there? Oh wait, it's just a bat. Oh wait, its head is off. I think I'm gonna say 6.
Yeah, because I kind of have a hard time wanting to give this one a score that it deserves for like what's supposed to be scary, because like I look at it and I don't feel scary from it as much as it's just like, this is totally cool.
Yeah.
But I know if it wasn't for me thinking, it's like skeletons. Like, I like skeletons.
Yeah.
And if there's a movie with like spooky, scary skeletons, there's like, oh, this is supposed to be scary, and I'm over here like, yeah, that's awesome.
Scariness of the spooky skeletons not
Yeah.
confirmed.
Not confirmed.
To be determined. That's all I have to say about Sleepy Hollow. Not drab music after the happy scene at the end. This is actually the ending piece of music. It's called A New Day, even. We'll see you next time.
Later.